Now, the Hollywood industry, the music industry, and even the public may have one way or another disliked the TV show dubbed The Wendy Williams Show, mostly because of the approach she used. However, others liked her regardless, drawn to her wittiness, truthfulness, and gossip. You see, the show later came to a close following some health complications of the TV star. And Wendy, the TV star, was diagnosed with Graves' disease and hyperthyroidism, which contributed to her ending the show. Moreover, in 2023, Wendy was diagnosed with dementia and aphasia. Interestingly, these recent developments have led to a number of controversies, from her conservatorship to accusations against her parents and her son for allegedly embezzling her hard-earned money meant for her care. Again, this revelation has caused a family rift, and it could cast a shadow over her career and finances. Meanwhile, Wells Fargo froze Wendy's accounts in 2022 over allegations of financial abuse and concerns about her mental health. Although the arrangement initially managed by Wells Fargo was designed to protect her $25 million fortune after claims of exploitation and mismanagement surfaced, the case has since spiraled into a contentious family feud. For instance, her parents are now battling to gain control of her affairs while accusing her 23-year-old son of financial misconduct. Also, following Wendy's medical conditions and her recent diagnoses, the court assigned a guardian named Sabrina to take charge of her finances and personal affairs. Inasmuch as Sabrina stated that Wendy is cognitively impaired and permanently incapacitated, unable to handle her affairs on her own, Wendy, with the support of her family, denies this claim. Moreover, they have criticized the system for stripping her of her freedom and independence instead of safeguarding her. Now, in an interview with Harvey Lavin for a new TV documentary called TMZ Presents Saving Wendy Williams, released on February 12, 2025, it was shown that Wendy appeared absolutely fine despite her past struggles with substance abuse, which some suggest may be the underlying cause of her dementia and aphasia. However, Wendy claims she has been misdiagnosed, tying it back to her history with substance abuse. If Harvey's observations after talking to Wendy are accurate, she's confined to her apartment and not allowed to go out, even though she has improved since becoming sober. You see, Wendy stated, "I feel like a prisoner. In the last 30 days, I went out twice." More so, she claimed she's in an abuse. For anyone watching the video, you could see Wendy crying. She's devastated. So, let's watch.
He is a horrible person to me. You know what I'm saying? You know, the way he moves with other people, you know what I'm saying? And what's going on with these other people at my apartment in Miami? What are you doing? Oh, you spent on what? And what is going on?
Despite the court's ruling on Wendy Williams' guardianship and her diagnosis of dementia and aphasia, her parents, Thomas and Shirley Williams, remained steadfast in their battle to overturn the arrangement and regain control of her affairs. Now, Thomas Williams Sr., who turned 94 this year and was the first black principal at the former River Street School in Red Bank in 1969, has vowed to fight for his daughter's freedom. He believes Wendy's being exploited financially, stating in anguish, "I watch her rise to fame only to see funds for her care stolen by someone she loves. It's crushing." Moreover, this family rift centers on accusations of monetary deceit tied to Wendy's son, Kevin Hunter Jr., leaving emotional scars deepened by the conservatorship. For Thomas, the guardianship represents not just a loss of autonomy for Wendy, but a betrayal of trust within the family. Meanwhile, the feud has sparked widespread distrust, particularly as Kevin Hunter Jr., born to Wendy and her ex-husband Kevin Hunter Sr., divorced in 2020, faces allegations of embezzling from her accounts, an issue that prompted Wells Fargo to freeze them in 2022. Although Wendy and her son are often seen together publicly, she addressed the controversy in her February 12, 2025 interview with Harvey Lavin for TNC Presents Saving Wendy Williams. You see, Wendy defended Kevin's character, saying, He's a good person, but what he did was horrible. However, she also hinted at broader exploitation, suggesting her son isn't the only one taking advantage of her $25 million fortune. As the documentary reveals her anguish, confined to her apartment under guardianship, Wendy's plea resonates. I feel like a prisoner. Let's watch.
Wendy Williams is locked in a room in an assisted living facility in New York. That's her. The only way I could interview her was to have a camera in the street because we can't get a camera in. She can't really have any visitors. She cannot go outside. She's been out twice in the last 30 days. She has no internet. She, and I think rightly, says she feels like a prisoner.
Now, recent accusations have thrust Kevin Hunter Jr., Wendy Williams' son, into the spotlight as he denies claims of embezzling her money. In an interview with TMZ host Harvey Levin for TMZ Presents Saving Wendy Williams, Levin inquired about Hunter's alleged misuse of his mother's funds. For instance, Levin noted that Hunter claimed he intended to rent a boat for $1,500 for his birthday, but instead ended up with one costing $113,000, blaming Wells Fargo for the mix-up, saying the bank wanted him to have it. However, Wendy agreed with Levin that the explanation made little sense, asserting, "My son used my money inappropriately and overstepped his boundaries." Amid these unfolding events, Wendy is pushing forward to reclaim her autonomy. You see, she has signed an affidavit formally asking a judge to terminate her guardianship, arguing she has regained the capacity to manage her own affairs. Moreover, Williams insists she needs a medical reevaluation, claiming she hasn't seen a doctor in nearly 2 years since her 2023 dementia diagnosis, a diagnosis she believes was a misstep tied to her past substance abuse struggles. Although her court-appointed guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, has labeled her permanently incapacitated, Wendy's plea for freedom grows louder. Let's watch this video to see her fight unfold.
She's back to the old Wendy, yet she's not only in a guardianship, it's a guardianship that has essentially locked her up and thrown away the key. She has been diagnosed with something called frontotemporal dementia. That's what Bruce Willis has. That condition never gets better. It only gets worse. There is a similar diagnosis called alcohol-induced dementia. That can get better. Wendy is an alcoholic, and she was deep into alcohol. But the fact is, when you look at her 2 years ago, she's gotten better. There's no question. And was this a misdiagnosis? And if so, she's going to get a reevaluation. But for some reason, the Guardian said, we don't think the diagnosis is going to change. How can the Guardian say that? The Guardians only talk to her like once a month.
Now, Wendy Williams' guardianship case has ignited a public and familial crusade, with Free Wendy Williams trending on X and fundraising campaigns emerging to challenge the court-ordered oversight that has controlled her life since 2022. For supporters, including her family and fans, this movement symbolizes hope that the former talk show host can reclaim her autonomy. However, the critical question remains: does Wendy have the capacity to live as a free woman, and is there a viable path forward? You see, Wendy, now 60, has been under the guardianship of Sabrina Morrissey since Wells Fargo froze her accounts 3 years ago, citing financial exploitation risks, amid concerns about her mental health. Although diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia, FED, and aphasia in 2023, conditions her guardian claims render her permanently incapacitated, Wendy fiercely disputes this narrative. In a recent affidavit signed on February 12, 2025, she asserts she has regained the capacity to function independently, a claim bolstered by her lucid interviews, like the one in TMZ Presents Saving Wendy Williams. There, she told Harvey Levin, "I feel fantastic," insisting she's been misdiagnosed, possibly due to past substance abuse rather than progressive dementia. Moreover, her family, led by her 94-year-old father Thomas Williams Sr. and niece Alex Finney, argues the guardianship isolates her unnecessarily, labeling it a luxury prison. They rallied support, pointing to Wendy's clarity in recent conversations as evidence of her competence. Meanwhile, Wendy's push to end the guardianship hinges on a forthcoming medical reevaluation by a doctor chosen by her new attorney, a pivotal step that could sway the judge overseeing her sealed case in New York. Interestingly, experts highlight the complexity of assessing capacity. While FTD's progressive, sobriety, and time could explain Wendy's reported improvement, raising doubts about her initial diagnosis. If this evaluation supports her claims, there's hope. She could regain control over her $5 million estate and personal decisions. However, the judge's ruling will ultimately rest on medical evidence and legal arguments, balancing protection against autonomy. For now, Wendy's resilience shines through. Although confined, leaving her apartment just twice in 30 days by her account, her determination, backed by a growing movement, suggests a path forward is possible. As her fate hangs in the balance, the decision lies with the court, her mental condition under scrutiny. So, is there hope? Yes. If the system bends toward her plea for freedom,